Mr. Speaker, sir, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Deputy Prime Ministers, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Ministers, Assistant Ministers, Honourable Members of Parliament. I rise today in this August Parliament to lend my full support to the 2024-2025 National Budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, at the outset, the Fijian economy has recovered strongly from the pandemic, with fiscal deficit and debt to GDP ratios continuing to decline, but remain at elevated levels. The monetary policy has remained accommodative, although the Reserve Bank of Fiji has begun tightening liquidity. In addition, the coalition government is developing a program of growth and enhancing reforms, which is articulated in the new National Development Plan. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2024-2025 budget theme focuses on an economically stable, secure, and sustainable Fiji. I am of the firm belief that this new budget is set amidst a backdrop of renewed confidence and optimism, and is befitting for an economy that has struggled to persist its way through uncertainties due to the previous government's excessive expenditure and inability to inclusively perceive impending development issues. Mr. Speaker, sir, this budget supports government's commitments in bridging the development inequalities existing between the rural and urban areas. Our rural people have long been marginalized, with limited access to essential services, infrastructure, and economic opportunities. Recognizing and unlocking the wealth of resources, cultural heritage, and human potential existing in our rural communities remains our priority. And as we focus on these, aligning our efforts with the global Sustainable Development Goals, it's imperative to ensure our progress is inclusive, sustainable, and transformative. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am delighted to note that government has prioritized initiatives that focuses on expanding the rural economy by investing in rural infrastructure, enhancing economic opportunities, empowering individuals and communities, as well as addressing climate change issues. With an increase of $8.8 million from the 2023-2024 budget, the Ministry of Rural and Maritime Development and Disaster Management is now allocated a budget of $37.9 million. This substantial investment demonstrates government's commitment to progress with developing resilient rural communities as part of SDG 11. Mr. Speaker, sir, the People's Coalition Government firmly believes that enhancing access to the main road networks for rural communities helps integrate them more effectively into our national economy and overall progresses as a nation. I note with great appreciation the allocation of $354.8 million to the Fiji Roads Authority for the ongoing construction and maintenance of roads, upgrading and replacement of bridges and jetties, and the upgrading of rural roads. The Ministry also acknowledges the allocation of an additional $5 million to the Ministry of Public Works for the maintenance and upgrade of rural roads. Mr. Speaker, sir, the allocation of $3 million towards the Ministry's Rural Outer Island Rural Development Program provides the Ministry the funding opportunity to invest in such infrastructure. Through the allocation of $2.5 million funding allocated for the ROI program in the 2023-2024 budget, the Ministry was able to implement a total of 50 projects across the country, focusing on three main sectors, including agriculture, fisheries, and the forestry sectors. Access is key to develop these sectors for farmers, markets, women, children, senior citizens, and those with special needs. The two areas of support that were provided for the agricultural sector include assistance for livestock farmers and the construction of more than 103 kilometers of rural farm roads. Mr. Speaker, sir, access to clean, safe drinking water is a basic human right. I wish to express my gratitude for the allocation of a sum of $5.7 million to the Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources to provide around 1,700 boreholes across the country, 1,000 in Viti Levu, 500 in Vanua Levu, 200 in our maritime islands, ensuring access to safe and clean water for all Fijians and contributing to sustainable development and community well-being. Mr. Speaker, sir, in aligning to our global commitment to Sustainable Development Goals 6 on achieving clean water and sanitation, the Ministry remains dedicated to addressing high-risk water and related infrastructure needs. We are grateful to the allocation of $1 million, an increase of $0.2 million from the current financial year, to achieve this initiative. Since the inception of the program in the 2021-2022 financial year, the Ministry has implemented more than 70 projects across our rural and maritime communities, totaling around $1 million. Mr. Speaker, sir, agriculture remains the backbone of the rural economy. We continue to stress that our rural areas are resource-rich, but the majority are cash-poor, as we've been slow to appreciate the potential wealth and economic gains that we can derive from the sustainable use of our natural resources, especially in the agricultural sector. The Ministry welcomes a $6 million increase in the budget of the Ministry of Agriculture to boost productivity in the sector. Mr. Speaker, sir, rural poverty remains a stark reality. It holds the key to transforming these communities and breaking the cycle of poverty. I must commend government's investment in enhancing market access through allocating $2.5 million to the Agricultural Marketing Authority. This investment will complement the assistance offered under the Ministry's ROI program, paving the way for an enabling environment to boost economic capabilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, agricultural institutions play a critical role in supporting rural farmers. Institutions such as the Nabuso Agricultural Technical Institute and the Tutu Training Center have made immense contributions towards the growth of the agricultural sector. The total allocation of around $3.3 million to these institutions is timely as we strive to encourage and educate more young farmers to venture into commercial farming. Mr. Speaker, there are a lot of untapped potential in rural Fiji. I am pleased to note that the coalition government is committed to empowering our rural communities that support tourism, micro, small, medium enterprises through this setting up of a pilot tourism MSME fund. And under this fund, the government will provide assistance of up to $15,000 to rural communities to assist in creating an enabling environment. Mr. Speaker, sir, youth unemployment remains a challenge, especially in the rural areas. The transition from education to employment remains an obstacle for many of our rural youth. We therefore commend government's efforts in bridging this gap through the provision of $5 million in grant to the Pacific Polytech. The grant will enable the institution to offer technical training, equipping our children, especially those from rural and maritime communities, with the skills and expertise needed to address Fiji's skills shortages. Mr. Speaker, sir, these initiatives contribute to achieving targets associated with decent work and economic growth under SDG 8. Shipping services, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Ministry recognizes the challenges present in accessing some of our remote maritime islands. Ensuring connectivity through the provision of reliable transportation services to the islands is critical to their development and economic growth. I acknowledge the allocation of $1 million for the upgrading and enhancement of government shipping services. For the Rural Housing Assistance Scheme, it remains a core commitment of the coalition government since taking office. We are delighted to inform this August House that in the 2023-2024 financial year, the Ministry was able to implement more than 160 housing projects across the 4 divisions. These projects included newly constructed houses, completion and extension works, and retrofitting works, directly contributing targets associated with SDG 11 of achieving sustainable cities and communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to personally thank every Fijian that applied via our online platform in the financial year. The Ministry was overwhelmed with the number of applications received via our online platform for the Rural Housing Assistance Program. More than 6,500 online applications were received by our team. Mr. Speaker, these are not merely numbers, but a clear reflection of the neglect of the previous government in addressing the growing housing needs in our rural and maritime areas. However, as we progress together in this new era, we are working towards ensuring that the needs of our rural populace are met, maybe slowly, but surely. Mr. Speaker, sir, the allocation of another $3 million in the 2023-2025 financial year for Rural Housing Assistance Program will enable the Ministry to continue meeting the housing needs of those in our rural and maritime communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, I must commend government's efforts in ensuring civil servants are provided with decent work standards through the promotion of healthy and safe working environments. And with this, the Ministry acknowledges the budgetary allocation of $1 million for the refurbishment of the Ministry's headquarters, $1.5 million for the renovation and upkeep of government pool quarters, and an additional $0.5 million for upgrade works at the Bunisea government station in Kandavu. Mr. Speaker, sir, the government recognizes the invaluable contribution of civil servants in public service delivery. I wish to commend the increase in the salaries and wages is a strategic investment. And in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, sorry I had to sprint through the final of that. The commitments made by the coalition government in its 2024-2025 national budget reflects a strong dedication to achieving economic stability, security, and sustainability for our nation. The initiatives set out by the government collectively demonstrates our strategic approach to nurturing inclusive growth, raising living standards, and paving the way for prosperous and sustainable future for all Fijians. And in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I reiterate my support for the 2024-2025 budget. Nasa wali.
Thank you very much.